Hello everybody, GloryProjectz here, and today for the commentary I'm going to talk about on how to improve your game, including your kill-death ratio score, and how to keep a kill streak. To start out, you need to have a good class setup, and if you're looking to build a kill streak, I would recommend you being stealth and versatile. For your class, I would say put a silencer on it and preferably extended mags. You can get this once your proficiency with the gun has ranked up enough. And for your perks, starting with tier 1, you should use scavenger so you can replenish your ammo from the fallen foes. And with the pro version of this, you start out with more magazines, and this is very, very helpful. Tier 2, I would go with assassin. And this enables you to be invisible from UAVs, and the pro of it makes where you are immune to counter UAVs and EMPs. This is a must for obtaining a nice kill streak. The third tier, you should use stalker, which makes faster movement while aiming down the sight, and the pro version delays enemy detection triggered explosives, an example, the bouncing betties and claymores. The next thing I'm going to talk about is how to prevent dying due to spawn changes and etc. You always need to look behind you, especially if you're in the enemy spawn. Make sure you put enough bullets into the enemy. That's one of the most common mistakes made. You would think that they were going to die and you started to reload. And trust me, I did that all the time, and it's just one of the mistakes that I always make. And when you're going to reload, you need to reload in a safe place. You never ever want to reload when you're walking around the corners or when you're in an open vicinity. If you're reloading and you're getting shot, just hit the sprint button so the action will be stopped. But I'm telling you right now, this does not promise you that you'll get the kill. It just stops the action so you can shoot. And there's many times where I reloaded right in the open, and I tried to do this and I just couldn't get it pulled off. And you also need to be aware of your surroundings. Make sure that there are no explosive barrels, enemy equipment, and everything else that could be harmful and cause you to die. It may seem very obvious, but when simple mistakes are made, it could cost your team to put an L on the scoreboard, and that just wouldn't be good. So next I'm going to talk about tactical and lethal equipment. I'm currently using the bouncy betty and the concussion grenade. The placement of your bouncy betty needs to be a known path where the enemy team will walk past. You don't want it out in the open due to the red light that illuminates from it. So I would put it around a corner or behind an object. The kill streaks you pick will vary from what you want, but you should try using the Predator missile and the precision airstrike. With the Predator missile, a red box illuminates, around the enemy, and I think, you can, average a kill from it all the time because it's really good. And, most likely your team will always have a UAV up, so your precision airstrike, will usually be pretty precise. And I'm saying, especially if you're playing team defender like I am, I use it many times, to try to protect my teammates, or I try to kill the enemy from across map. And, this does not, take up much time to call in. And it's very helpful. I mean, that's just one of the things that I use. It's really helpful, and it can, it benefits your team. And there's many times, like you'll see in this clip where I don't put the full clip into them. And it could cause me to die. But, luckily I don't. Sometimes I may reload, in a bad place. But I really try not to. And, I really try to stay in one vicinity. Like, right now, I'm staying, right here. I want to stay right here, so, you don't want to go around because, many people are complaining about the spawn changes in Modern Warfare 3. And, yeah, they may not be the best, but they're not the worst. It's not like people spawn, actually right behind you. If you stay in one spot, they're not going to come up on you. They won't usually spawn right behind you. You usually have to walk into the enemy spawn, and then the server or whatever it'll try to change the enemy spawn, and that's what happens. If all your teammates are everywhere, obviously the enemy is going to spawn right behind you. They're not going to just put the enemies or your teammates in one position. They're not going to stay in one position of the map, and they're not going to just if you walk into their spawn, they're not going to stay. They're not going to stay right there, just because that that could it could basically be boosting. People could just sit there and camp. People did that in Black Ops. They sat one spot and just, stood there the whole time without crossing a certain line or path. And this enabled the enemies to spawn at that same spot. And, they just got picked off and picked off. That's what'll happen. And, if you realize it, that's the good thing about this game. That doesn't happen at all. And as you tell in this video, extended mags really help. So does the silencer. The silencer, prevents me from being on the enemy's UAV, and so does assassin. It's just a chain together. It works really good. And like I was saying with extended mags, there's obviously you can't use sleight of hand now, so you need to put more bullets into the clip. I mean, more bullets into the enemy, and with that, you need more bullets into the clip, because you're gonna be reloading. Let's say there's 3 people coming up, you're gonna be reloading in the middle of while they're shooting. That's not gonna happen at all. That'll cause you to die, and that just won't be good. So that's many of the reasons why I started using this. And I use the M4A1 just because, it's a really good gun. It doesn't bounce around too much. And I really think it's good overall. That's why I'm using it. And, it's the first gun that you can really get. I mean, of the assault rifles. And I think you get the M16 or something. But, I mean, as I was saying, all my perks work together. As I was saying, scavenger. This makes it where I can, reload and, I can reload from the enemies, and it just helps, That's what it does. I mean, it just, so you don't have to pick up the enemy's gun. Well, thanks for watching this video, and I hope you really enjoyed it.